think I have. I think the little two main thing is safe on my hard drive.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if I don't have my external hard drive plugged in, I'm just lazy. I'll save it here and I'll switch to it. But that's not very long. Or a long time. So.
It's just I was going to week here, so I was at work weekend, and then thanks for trying to get too much. Saturday I didn't get much until like at like 9 to the bonfire. That's like Sunday. Beautiful. It's a managed
JT make it your own time?
We hope so. Where they got it out eventually.
He's not sure. Where does he live? Does he live on campus?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. It's a shorter walk than me. Yeah.
Even if I do work all day, I can actually get out of day. I started at the morning, I tried to last and I left. I go to Hartsville
I can't sleep through my alarms.
I've done that one
Yeah, I hate it really. We do basics.
I'm just feel like
So,
yeah, I slept through her before 14, so.
all the rest of my family. I jumped around and ran outside, and they laughed at me. I'm like, you know, that's just I was outside in the yard, up and down, and they were like, just coming down the stairs. Come on. Shouldn't be the pack here.
I will be.
Gotcha.
Earthquake. You know that. Oh, yeah. I was like, okay.
I was asleep. My room was in the basement in my house, and so like my parents went downstairs and they were like, "Are you okay?" Yes, you like your bedroom. You have love mine. If you're not, I'm not figuring it out. Didn't tell you. They're like, "You need to go downstairs." Okay, like. So we live by a coal mine, and then so like the blast would shake the house.
Yeah, we live right next to a quake, and the blast shake the house all the time. So.
I just thought it was another like one thing. Added too much.
Right.
Or he'll give you the next week.
We thought that too, and then we realized it was really early in the morning, and then it just kept going.
Right. Yeah. I never ticked off because when we woke up, we thought it was a blast. And he's like, "This is ridiculous." And then I was like, "It's an earthquake." Oh, okay. Well, it's still ridiculous.
They're not supposed to blast that big. I mean, we don't normally. It doesn't like bother our well or anything, but if it did,
Right.
it hasn't yet. Our neighbor though, like destroyed the well, so he like did it, now they have to pay. He like lives literally like a dirt floor, but I think he walks everywhere and picks up cans and he like has a kitchen with his house. I don't know.
Oh, nice.
My mom's like, don't eat it. Like, yeah. Yeah, I have to give that to that. I said that I was at the store to pay you in the back. I was like, it's really good and it's hard and soft. Just like my parcel from the house. I was like, no. You know, I'll give the same away. I don't like it. It's special. It's just like this big there. Yeah, and it's the same. I don't know. I would like buy it. I had acronyms. The one is so I had to explain all the letters and all that. It was huge. There was 4 parts, and each Or as like experience more active. You don't want to make something big.
I feel like 2 hours.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
Oh, really? Well, I eventually got this. It wasn't anywhere. It wasn't supposed to.
I had to go to the website and yeah. Well, I took this and I'm staying at mine is like but it worked.
No, because I know what
Right
you're talking
away.
about, and then like every single one of them, I was like,
There's me.
Start with relax and count your breath, please. Or
17.
2 minutes. Listening. When you really practice meditation, recognize as it's like you're protected by a word, they say this error in the word. And when I give you that analogy, you understand that. So whatever it is happening, the distorted. That's what I mean by war. The war of what we call is in Buddhist called samadhi, concentration. When you really into enough music, time is no matter, right? When you're into good food, when you're into friends, your friends, you don't pay attention much, or others will not disturb too much. You recognize us, so that is where if we have the kind of practice, it's easy for us to protect ourselves. The judges happening out there, whether they give you some kind of judgment, criticism, or praise, so forth, you know, it's still stable. And it's easy to let go things. So, you feel that yet? That you? And you feel that yet? So, when we stress out, when we're depressed, we can take medicine, right? But side effects, especially depression. If they don't take the depression pill, and they may have what they call withdrawal syndrome. So then they may commit suicide too, right? So this is so safe and obvious approach. So that's exactly. Okay, so today we talk about the last one, the secularized meditation practice, DBT. Okay, the first one. Let's see. Yes, it's what's the first? Okay, Sika.
I had number 1.
Oh.
I had number 4.
Oh, okay. Yeah, please. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, please. What's the function?
The function. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so DBT, dialectic behavior therapy.
Yeah.
The function of it, originally the function was to help people who had suicidal thoughts, particularly women, and then it turned into something that functioned as therapy for lots of different psychological problems, so ADHD, eating disorders, bipolar, borderline personality disorder, all sorts of things. So it's supposed to combine the reasonable mind and the emotional mind and create the wise mind and eventually lead to intuition. And so there are a lot of different steps towards intuition, I guess. The function of it, I'm trying to think of what I include.
First, can you define what's mean DBT?
Yeah, I do have a simple definition. Dialectic behavior therapy is a comprehensive cognitive behavioral treatment for complex, difficult to treat mental disorders.
Yeah.
People with BPD lack important interpersonal self-regulation, including emotional regulation and stress tolerance skills. And personal and environmental factors often both block and or inhibit the use of behavioral skills that clients do have and reinforce dysfunctional behaviors. So the purpose is to enhance dialectic thinking. So that would mean you're aware of how you're feeling and you're able to communicate how you're feeling. So you can say this is happiness, this is sadness, this is anger, this is doubt, all those kinds of things. And you can do it, you can have individual psychotherapy, group skills training,
Yeah. You go ahead.
therapist consultation room. One thing that's specific about it is it wants the DBT wants to validate the client's current capabilities and validate client's current behavioral functions, acceptance and change from the treatment. So lots of times therapists are dealing with people who are suicidal or who lack any sort of confidence. So you want to make them feel like who they are is valid. So I think that's a little bit different than CBT because you're trying to teach them all new skills and that's really overwhelming. So you want them to feel like who they are at that moment is okay. Yeah. And then there are lots of stages.
So it's with the Dialectical.
Dialectical. I took that as the stage aspect of communication, but I don't really have a specific definition for that. Like in that context.
According to these definitions, Dialectical is this one is in between, not either or.
I remember, I think I saw a definition of that. It seemed like they talked something about everything, they always have like two sides, maybe right or maybe wrong, but not really completely right, completely wrong.
This is like in between of what we call it is a real way, not two extremes. You see, there's this kind of DBT can occurs to do all kinds of mental state profile emotions. Okay, let me go here. Here, DBT balance. Accept with change. Flexibility with stability, nurture with challenge. Focus on capabilities with a focus on limitations and deficits. So this is kind of balance here. Here, DBT represents a move away from either or thinking towards both and thinking. So there is a combination of acceptance and change. Works with acceptance and change.
The difference between acceptance and change. Acceptance is you're going to be, I guess, okay with it or at ease with it the way it is, and change is to make it different than it is right now.
That's called flexibility, right? Flexibility. So things changing movement by movement. You can accept that. It's simple and require tolerance of these tensions during this state. The course has its temporary movement of stability, reduced, and then lost again in the new push towards the road. You will go with the flow. Yes, accept the flow. You don't go against the flow. So you remember the day that you're driving on the street, on the freeway, when it has too much traffic, what happens if you cut it off? Or what if you cut it off? You have to go with the flow. Is that right? You get stuck there. If you cut it off, you get a big fine, right? For the Kit Kat. So you have to go with the flow. Anyway, so that's the idea of DBT. And the next one we go to, okay, 3 harmony state of mind in DBT. Number 2. Oh yeah, please.
Seems like they are a reasonable mind, an emotional mind, and then a wise mind.
Yeah. Okay, what's been emotional mind is reasonable mind.
The goal is to not. They're not saying the emotional mind is bad and the reasonable mind is bad. They're saying that when you can balance both your emotional mind and your reasonable mind, then that's where you find your wise mind.
So can you define what's an emotional mind?
It's like your emotional reaction to everything. Just, you think of something and you have an emotion and you react emotionally right away. And then reasonable is more where you think about things and kind of plan things out. And so they're saying you can't always just plan everything and you can't emotionally react right away. You kind of have to find a balance in the middle, and that's when you're wise, I think.
Here's the definition of emotion, mind. Okay, thinking and behaviors controlled by emotional state. What does it mean?
It's how you act and what you do is controlled by your feelings.
The next class we talk about how to deal with emotion. We have mindfulness and emotional regulation. So let's say when you are in good mood, right? You react differently from when you're in bad mood. So that's what I'm talking about. Let's say if you have some problem at home and when you come to class and some of your friends ask something, you don't want to answer. You don't want to reply, right? Because you have bad mood, right? But vice versa, right? When you have good mood, you can share anything with your friends. Okay, thoughts are unhelpful and distressing. Right? When you're emotional, it's like sometimes thoughts are unreliable, right? Difficult to think logically and rationally. You go with emotion, right? I'm angry now. I go with my flow. I go with my emotion. No matter what people say, I don't care, right? Facts are distorted to fit with current distress and follow with opinions, not with the wisdom. Strong emotion drives strong behavior. What I want to do. Okay, that is the emotional mind and reasonable mind. Intellectual, scientific, logical, and rational thinking. You think in the logical way. Factual thinking based on evidence, able to plan how to respond. But sometimes we cannot plan, right? We have to respond instantly. So that's why the wise man in the middle integrate emotion, mind, and reasonable mind, intuitive knowing to emotional distress and logical analysis. That follows a storm. See or know something directly and clearly. Perhaps the big picture is other than just part. Ensure need both of emotion and mind and reasonable mind. Okay, so have you feel about this kind of wise mind? Have you recognized us? I think we apply every day, right? And in the book it says, Sept, the wise mind is part of what we call, I think we discussed before, right? Part of intuition. That we use every day. Is that right? How can we recognize our intuition? How can we recognize our intuition?
If you recognize what you can change and
Right, this is the hint here. See or know something directly and clearly, without thinking, without oral expression. That's the intuition. You pick up on the spot. You have that kind of skill. You get my points? You have that kind of skill?
Yeah, like sometimes.
Sometimes.
But I'm not on a lot of things. I'd say
Okay.
a fourth of the time, maybe.
How can you pick up things by using the intuition? How?
We're doing like, okay, I don't know if this is right or not. Like, when I see my child and he's acting normally, but I can see by his face and his eyes that something's wrong. Just Even if I say, are you okay? Yeah, everything's fine. But I can see in his eyes that something's different, that there's something bothering him, even if he doesn't want to talk about it.
That's right. Yeah, because you're a mother, you know that child more than others, right? And if you have girlfriends, boyfriends, one of his or her facial expression, you know what's wrong. What happened to him or her, right? You know instantly. It's go beyond the thinking. It go beyond the oral expression, right? Pick up on the spot. Okay, that's good intuition. That's called wise mind. That's direct mind. And that's why in Zen tradition, this direct mind is so important. You see things as the way they are. When people say, you recognize what their need is, instead of analyzing. Remember? We talked about that, right? So that's his wise mind. Okay. So that's a three-state of mind.
So I wonder if like every time you always like analyze about anything, because that's a bad thing, that's a good thing.
What's that?
If like every time like you always, like your wise mind, I talk about wise mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time if you always analyze about anything, is that a good thing or that's a bad thing?
Depends on the situation, but most of the times, sometimes it is important. In essence, let's say your friends come to see you, especially your close friends and best friends, they come to see you and talk to you some of their problems. It is recognize the problem directly. You try to analyze. You try to think that, oh, probably this lady or this gentleman tried to manipulate me through her his story. You see that? You aggravate the problems. Instead of listening with the pure mind, with the intuition. Yeah?
I was just going to respond to what you said. I think that when you always analyze things and when you're always focusing on like the reasonable mind, you forget about emotions or you don't pay enough attention to them. So like you said, it's not good or bad, but you have to be able to acknowledge your emotions in your being. If that side of you is more hot, as they say in the readings, then you also need to be aware of the emotions. Like sometimes I will say, oh, I know I'm supposed to act that way, or I know I'm supposed to react this way, but then I'm not paying attention to the fact that like that, just because I know that doesn't mean that that's how I'm feeling. So I need to acknowledge my feelings too, or I won't really understand the picture.
Yeah. So when you try to analyze this, you get stuck with the thinking process. And you may not see things in the right way. You could not use the intuitions. And that's why sometimes you can use the logical mind, but sometimes it may not be the way as they are. Sometimes, let's say, people, if you travel around, right, sometimes people eat different way, talk different way, according to the culture, the traditions. And if you try to analyze, well, how could they sit that way? How could they eat that way? And so forth. You don't understand about their background. You don't understand about their traditional background. So that's where the problem comes from. And you try to, most of the time we try to analyze by using our what we call pre-programming knowledge, right? So that we can judge them in the way that we understand about this.
I think I have a problem about it because everything I do, I always analyze, and people around me say, why do you think so much when you don't have to? Mm-hmm. And I say, well, I cannot control it.
You just know that somehow that is the habit, right? We have to wait how many years. So that's why in meditation, mindfulness, we try to reverse that habit so that we could calm our mind better by using our intuition. Instead of jumping to
the points and try to sort out what's wrong, what's right, and so forth. Right? It is more disturbing. That's what the mindfulness-based practice for.
I was going to say sometimes when I'm struggling to accept something, I feel like I have to overanalyze it to understand it, because otherwise, like, I won't be able to accept it, but that doesn't really work. So, yeah, I can relate to that. I've done that before many times, where I'm like, well, I have to keep thinking about it, or else it won't be solved. Like, the problem will go away, and that's because I'm resisting acceptance. So I think that's the thing. Everybody does it.
And of course, the school teachers have to analyze this, right? You write analytical essay and so forth, right? But here, this is the way how to reverse the pattern, how to calm your mind by using the intuition. The systems are the way they are. They recognize themselves the way they are. They listen, especially when you have problems with your parents, or if they have problems, just listen. And we try to react. If we try to analyze the evidence they want to explain, we disturb more problems. We create more problems. Okay. So let's just move on. Here the next one. Describe 4 sets of skills to develop wise mind in DBT. 4 or 3. Yeah, please. What is they?
Okay. It was kind of long because there was the 4 parts.
Yeah.
Each part had a whole bunch of acronyms under it, but the first set of skills were mindfulness skills, which are designed to help someone develop the wise mind. And it included the what skills and the how skills.
We will do that.
Do you want me to go through each acronym?
In general, of course.
Okay. The what skills are observe, describe, and participate. So be able to observe the moment non-judgmentally, then be able to describe it, be able to label everything, like label your emotions and your senses and what's going on around you accurately, and participate means to enter experiences wholeheartedly, put your whole self in it without being self-conscious and holding yourself back. And then the how skills are non-judgmentally, one mindfully, and effectively, which means non-judgmentally, obviously just not judge things that are going on around you. One mindfully means to do one thing at a time. Like if you're going to have a meal, then just eat. Don't watch TV too, or don't, eat while you're driving. If you're going for a walk, only go for a walk. Don't go for a walk but then think about all the things that you have to do later. Just walk. And then effectively do everything with conviction. Don't just halfway do things just to get by. And then the next set of skills were distress tolerance skills for helping you get through times when you're really distressed and really upset. So they have
someone talk about accept, that's okay.
Okay. So I don't have to talk about the distress
tolerance. Just talk in general.
The crisis survival skills, which is accept, and then the self-soothe skills, just using your senses to soothe yourself. Improve the moment skills, so like if you're having a really distressing moment that maybe you're going to have a panic attack or something, you can get through it with those. The next set of skills are the emotion regulation skills, which is the PLEASE acronym that someone else is going to talk about. And then the interpersonal effectiveness skills, those are for dealing with conflicts with other people, which is the acronym DEAR-MAN, which stands for describe, express, assert, reinforce, mindful, appear confident, negotiate. Those are just all points to remember when you're in a conflict. And then the relationship effectiveness skills follow the acronym GIVE, which is gentle, interested, validate, and easy manner, which is to follow if you're in a relationship. And then the last ones are the self-respect effectiveness skills, which follows the acronym FAST, FAIR, apologies, which actually stands for no apologies, not to apologize for who you are, stick to your values, and be truthful with yourself.
It's pretty complicated. Long list.
Now, in my reading response, I went through and I described each one, and after I did that, it made a lot more sense. At first, I didn't understand how they related to each other or anything, but once I got done with the assignment and I read it, then I can see how like the acronyms fall under each category, but then each category goes together, so they make more sense now.
Can you explain a little bit more in general, not in detail, how it makes sense?
How all of them go together. Well, DBT is supposed to help with hard to treat disorders, and I think all of these are all skills on different things, different problems that people with mental disorders could have. Like we already talked about finding the wise mind, while that's important, but distress tolerance, I think those skills could be used for anybody, but that's a big one because people with mental disorders sometimes have a big problem controlling their emotions, so they might need those skills. And then emotion regulation and interpersonal effectiveness, those are both just other problems that you could have if you have a mental disorder that's hard to treat. Because I think a lot of times people want to just medicate, or they just want to like ignore their family members or people that have a mental disorder, because I have several people in my family with mental disorders. And yeah, it gets really difficult sometimes if you're at Walmart and they start having an emotional breakdown. It's really hard on everyone else, not just them. So I think that these are all really good skills for people to learn whether you have a mental disorder or not.
Have you read the news about a guy who intruded the White House?
Yeah.
What happened to him? He wrote him. He said that, what's what he say? Remember? Why he jump over the fence and rush to the White House? He's a vet.
I don't remember what he
And
said.
somebody said that the world is collapsing, so he wanted to help Obama to help people. This is nonsense, right? What happened over here? All the life individuals emotional vulnerable. See that? We love it, but they have the car problems. You see, that's come from the mind, is that right? And emotionally insensitive, emotionally intense, slow return to baseline. So what's mean by what's mean by borderline problems? Yes.
Well, I think I know what borderline problems are. It's when it's literally like you're on the border of.
Yeah.
You're on the border of what's normal and what's hyperactive.
So then they think about commit suicide all the time. What is it? Is it more serious than depression?
Like a plan and just thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like borderline personality disorders. Yeah, that's what my brother has.
What happened to you?
He has problems regulating his emotions. Like he'll be normal for a long time, and then randomly you'll say one thing to him like, I just bought a house and moved into it, and he has some of my mother's antique furniture, and I asked him if I could have some of it because he just had it in the back room, and it was like you just flipped a switch. He just flipped out on me. That you get all the nice stuff in the family. Everybody gives you everything, and you cannot have that desk because it's my desk. And I was like, okay, I'm sorry I tried to take the desk from you. I'm sorry. And then my mom was like, he got really jealous for a little bit. He didn't know how to handle it. So, just stuff like that happens all the time. And we used to, get mad back at him, yell at each other. And now we know you can't do that because he's not being himself.
Yeah. So the people could not handle their mind. We think that they're crazy, but somehow only the tools. When we know the tools can handle our mind, right? Otherwise, somehow it's just chaos in our lives. So that's one view. Okay, so let's let's just go back here. Number 4, describe core mindfulness skills in DBT, what and how. Number 4, yes.
So I read Dr. Vaughn's newsletter, which was really interesting, and it was kind of like Tina was saying, the what and how mindfulness skills are really like the core skills of DBT, and basically it just means what we've been talking about, staying aware of the present moment and not judging your thoughts. And one thing interesting is that, from what I read, like initially clients they think it's going to be a quick meditation, it's just a small part of the therapy, but it really is able to be generalized to their entire daily life, so they're able to sort of use it when they're not, in the DBT therapy session, which is kind of the key point because you want it to apply to all aspects of your life. And it's said that most clients are shocked to know how disconnected they are from reality and how distracted they've been once they've really practiced the mindfulness skills again and again and again. And I wrote down a quote that I really liked that Dr. Vaughn said. He said, my personal experience of mindfulness practice is best described as a growing space that allows for safe examination of thoughts and feelings. And I sort of took that to mean it's like a safe, it becomes sort of like a safe place or a refuge where you're really able to practice those skills effectively, which he did say it takes a lot of patience and commitment, particularly if you have something like borderline personality disorder or something that's really, really traumatizing for you. It can take a while to really effectively train yourself with the what and how skills, but and they mentioned the raisin trick or something is what I read, where the therapist hands the client a raisin and they have to just stare at that raisin for 5 minutes and observe like the wrinkles and the shape and everything before they eat it. So I kind of took that to mean it's a way of sort of giving your mind a clean slate. It almost forces you to do, like if I was to lick this water bottle for 5 minutes, I would probably forget everything else to it. It's really interesting. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, and there's Simon West on Wednesday, and that you some of you is here describe and explain how emotions differ from feeling, values, thought, event, and behavior. When we break down, when we differentiate them, we see emotions, how emotions differ from our feeling. Sometimes we think that this is our feeling, right? But actually you work with your emotion, is that right? So that's also one of the questions that we work this Wednesday. So let's go back here. So, so which one, for the what skill and how skill, which one do you think is more applicable for your case?
Really for me personally?
Mm-hmm. Which one?
For the what, probably, well, non-judgmentally is probably the biggest one in general.
Which one?
Non-judgmentally for the how.
How about the what skill?
Probably to observe. Sometimes I don't pay attention to all my thoughts. I might go off.
See, like you just mentioned recently, like you tend to analyze things. Right? When we try to explain some things, we jump, what we call, we jump on inside their mouth, right? That's an analogy. We stop their expression, and we don't listen what they try to explain. So we just absorb, listen, and participate in that kind of conversation. It's more healthy conversation. It's more fruitful. It's of course, especially non-judgmentally, it's not easy, right? But we build our habits sooner or later. It's like the way that we judge people since we were born. But that's the way we can change, we can reverse the patterns. At first it's hard, right? But the point is that if you follow that approach, you have peace of mind. If you use intuition, you have peace of mind. You won't waste energy. When you analyze things, when you jump to the conclusion too soon, you lost all the points, right? And you may waste your time and energy to explain it, to argue with that person. Is that right? Sometimes, right? We're so sensitive, right? We're so sensitive when someone just open their mouth or they just say only half a sentence, we jump on the conclusion. Oh, your thought is bad, or your explanation is incorrect, and so forth. Listen, we don't want to listen. That's why we waste our energy. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Number 5. Yes. Yeah. The Sept. DBT. Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. So the basis of what this Sept acronym stands for is basically kind of activities that doing things that distract yourself from, I guess, the present maybe negative thoughts or present negative feelings. For instance, the A in steps stands for activities. The C stands for contributing. The next C is comparisons. The E stands for emotions. The P stands for pushing away. The T stands for thoughts, and finally the S for sensations. So, for instance, in activity, this is just kind of generalized. The idea behind this is just to, do activities that will take your mind away, maybe from the current problems you're having. And in order for this to be effective, you obviously have to be in the here and now while doing this activity. That's something kind of I myself struggle with, because I could be doing something else, such as, say, mowing the lawn or something, but I'm really not paying attention to mowing the lawn. I'm just thinking about, something else, what I got to do after I get done, something about the past. That would be an example of activity. The contributing. Contributing is kind of the same idea, except it's just kind of instead of doing a random activity, it's simply doing an activity that kind of contributes towards someone, such as like mowing someone's lawn for them, or doing something nice for them, or volunteering at a food bank or something. Again, the whole idea behind that is to try to temporarily distract yourself from your problems by doing something else. Again, there's comparisons, and this I guess is more thought-based. You can, by kind of looking at maybe other people who may experience your similar problem, or even comparing yourself to how you were in the past. You're trying to make yourself feel maybe not as bad about yourself. To say, I guess, saying, well, I'm not as worse off as I was maybe a year ago. I think personally a problem here is, what if you feel like you haven't improved? That can just lead to a more depressive thought, as in which is not really helping there. I guess for the emotions, it's basically for the E, it's basically to try to evoke a maybe opposite emotion of what you're feeling. If you're feeling sad, you could do something that would evoke a happy emotion, or whatever you enjoy doing. Again, this is something I struggle with. I really kind of, once I'm in maybe say a depressive state, I don't want really to get out of that state of mind. No matter really what I do, it's not going to really get me out of that. And this one, the P, the pushing away, is a little confused by that, because from what I read, it's kind of, I guess, I don't know if it's more pushing away or just putting it to the side, like the problem is kind of in the back of your mind to be taken care of later. Because if it's pushing away, that's not really going to help, because, as we can everybody probably could attest to, the more you try to push something away, the harder it'll come back, and it really wouldn't help. So I think, I guess, take it more in the sense of maybe putting something to the side and saying, I will worry about that later. So that would be the better option there. Finally, the thoughts, is simply trying to distract yourself by, say, thinking about something else. I think this is kind of similar to like how when we meditate, if we focus on the breath, that is like forcing your thought, well, not forcing, but having yourself think about that in particular instead of other things. And this, again, requires you to be in the here and now for that to be effective. And finally, the S stands for sensations, like I said, and that's kind of evoking certain sensations, such as like if you took a really cold shower or you took a hot shower, anything that would evoke kind of a certain really intense sensation on you is helpful for kind of distracting yourself from the current problems. And this one's the one I like the most here because, like for instance, if I am experiencing pain of some sort, my thoughts automatically go to that pain. Like that is all that is on my mind. I'm not really thinking anything about the future or the present. It's just right there, what I'm feeling there. So I think that could be really helpful. And yeah, that is, all in all, it's just about, I guess, distracting yourself from the current situation that you could be, I guess, negative situations you be thinking about. So
this is the way, right? This is called distress tolerance, right?
Yeah.
How to handle the distress.
Mm-hmm.
So like you say, they provide a Sept, right? The acronyms.
Yes.
Activities, contribution, comparison, emotions, push away, thought association. Sept, to deal with distress, to handle, right? Tolerance to handle, then deal with distress. So depend each individual, right? So sometimes you may not use the opposite one. You can use some kind of emotional activities. So what do you think? This one is more natural way of approaching the distress, or it's just the techniques how to deal with stress. With distress.
Yeah.
They're like tools.
Tools. Yeah.
Techniques and tools.
Techniques and tools, right?
The cold water thing, I think, really works. And I was looking at a book once on anxiety. I don't think it was a self-help book, but it was just talking about anxiety and different methods that people use that have been used for a very long time. One of the things was doing things that heighten sensations, and they told people who have anxiety to go take a cold shower and then like write about or think about how that sensation changed their previous state of mind, or like how they felt before and how they felt after.
Sometimes I give the suggestion to people, if you like to learn how to let it go when taking a shower, if you remember when the water flow on the top of your head, it would flow down to your feet, and you could not hold there. Make sense? So that's the way you just let it go, like you can in the shower. To cleanse your dirt, cleanse your body, soothes your mind. So when you take that shower, you recognize it, and when you have some problems, you cannot let go. Or some therapists or psychologists, they say that, well, this are my thinking before too. Like when you sit nearby a river or in a stream, like take a leaf, you write out something on that leaf, or put a piece of paper that you have written something that you could handle, put on that leaf, and let's go with the flow. And then that can help you to let it go, so that it can be more in you. As you mentioned recently, with sometimes, let's say you have some kind of pain, and your mind always bring you back to that pain, right?
Yeah, it's something I definitely notice. Like if you're feeling sick or whatever, you're not going to be focused on anything other than how you feel. At least for me, I don't know somebody else, but so yeah, I definitely can relate to that because that's definitely something that I've noticed.
Especially your back pain, right?
It's not so much actually with the back pain because that is like directly correlated with my stress, but just like other maybe types of pain or something like that, or if I have like heartburn or something like that, that is really distractive. But yeah, not so much with like the back pain or pain is related to stress, just other.
Yes.
Okay, I was just gonna mention, I was talking to my friend this weekend about everything that I've been learning in this class, and he had studied this kind of stuff too before, and he dealt with it a lot after he lost a few of his fingers, and he was dealing with phantom pain, and it was something that I've heard of, but I haven't really researched a lot. And he was saying that like he felt the pain of his finger, like he felt like he can still remember the pain of when it was lost, and the only way to relieve that pain was to like massage the finger that wasn't there. So it was like just like imagine that it was there and then massage it and like or like trying to like cool it down for whatever, and it actually just doing that convinced the mind that he was relieving the pain, and then it's really interesting.
And sometimes it's dependent on state of mind. Let's say sometimes we hold the hammers, hit the nails, and somehow we hit the fingers, right? Mm-hmm. And if, let's say, if your child run around and yell so much, you may pay attention more about the yelling of your child instead of the pain. That's what the activities it help you to be lyric, right? To get away from that thought. Sometimes it's like if the tick bite you, it's itching. But when you take an exam, right, or when you're driving or eating, you may not pay attention much. But at night, it is itching. Is that right? So it depends on. So it's kind of on state of mind. The pain is still there. The itching is still there, right? But that's a way to let our mind go to different views, different sensation. So here, which one is more applicable for you?
Although I haven't tried it yet, I would probably say sensations, because that seems to be like the only thing that can really distract me from my own thoughts.
You could feel that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. Let's just move on number 6. Oh, yeah, describe, improve. Number 6. Yeah, please.
The acronym IMPROVE is for improving the moment.
Okay.
And it's for soothing the pain of like stress or just pain. Anyway, so I is for imagery, and it's suggested to like retreat into your mind to find like a safe place. Think deeply about like, where you are. Imagine somewhere like nice and calm, and just use it as a place to shut out anything that made you feel the pain or made you feel threatened. And then meaning for M focuses on placing value or meaning on the pain or the threatening feeling. And then it says to find the positives in the situation and make them the focus of your thinking.
Mm.
And then P for prayer. You turn your troubles over to like a higher being, such as God, because you can't carry the weight all on your own. And so if you pass it off to your mind by being mindful or a higher power, it eases your pain. Relaxation. Comes in many forms. You can do a hobby, you can exercise, tense and relax your muscles, listening to sounds, meditating, whatever like makes you relax. That's what it suggests to do. O is one thing at a time. This is the mindfulness part of it, because you focus all your attention on one task. So if you are doing the dishes or cleaning, focus on the dishes or cleaning, not dwelling on what you're upset about or the pain, or meditating in general. V is for a brief vacation. They said that it could go up to like a weekend trip, or it could just be taking 20 minutes to yourself to like lay in bed and just not do anything, or remove yourself from the painful situation and relax, so you can come back feeling refreshed and can handle it easier. And then E is encouragement. It says be your own cheerleader. So although it sounds silly to like repeat to yourself, I can do it, like it's not gonna be this bad, like it's just temporary, it's goofy, but it's helpful just to encourage yourself if no one else is, encouraging, so you can rely on yourself to bring yourself back up.
So in general, using this kind of improving arguments to deal with what? Deal with your mind and
pain.
your let's see, this one is again displaced sorry. This is displaced tolerance skill too. Then accept, and the next one is this handbook in DBT. So I upload this handbook on the file, and you can use it. Please use this one for your Wednesday reading response too, because on Wednesday we talk more. Discuss more about how to deal with our emotion revelations. So we can improve. So basically, yes. So when you so stress out, when you are distressed, actually vacation, that's people love, right? When they stress out, right, they take vacation to the beach, to go to the cruise ship, all right, and so forth. And pride. What do you think? Do we talk about the difference between mindfulness, meditation, and practical? We talk about that before, right? What's the difference?
Prayer and meditation. I think what we said was prayer, you're usually typically asking for something.
Yeah.
Meditation, you're just accepting what is.
Yeah, but sometimes people ask for some ideas to help us, to bless us. Like even me too, I recite the mantra that involve the blessing that came from Buddha, Bodhisattva, because sometimes we human, we have so much limitation. But of course, meditation, that's the way we can do. That's the way we can handle our mind at this moment. But sometimes things go beyond our abilities. You need some help from ideas. But pray alone sometimes may not be the answer. Is that right? Sometimes people get the response from prayer, but some will go hit and run, right? But for meditation, if we do more, the more we do, the more result we could feel, we could recognize. That is different. Imagination in Buddhism, we talk about a lot. Visualization. You visualize yourself as a Buddha, Bodhisattva, or even, for common people, they like movie star, certain type of celebrity, right? So there's a kind of visualization so that they can get out, they can do what they have good about it. Okay, it's number 7. Describe skill, please. With the second, please. Yeah.
So please stands for the P and L are for physical illness, E is for eating, A is for altering drugs, S is for sleep, and the last E is for exercise. And these are all used under like the broader theme of reducing vulnerability to negative emotions. So the concept is you're replacing your negative emotions with positive ones, but you're still accepting the negative emotions as they are. The whole point is to get to the root of why do I feel this way. So we have primary emotions and secondary emotions. And primary emotions are the originating emotion from an event, like you get angry at your spouse. And then the secondary emotion is the one that follows that because of the primary emotion. Like, okay, I'm angry at my spouse, we had a fight, and now I feel guilty. So neither of those are good or bad. We want to get to, okay, why did I get angry? So we go through each of the letters to see if there's something in our life that we're doing that is contributing to however we're feeling. So if we're sick, so if we have physical illness, or if we're not eating right, or if we're taking drugs that we shouldn't. They said that the exception is like prescription drugs that you're supposed to take, and then as if we're not getting a lot of sleep, and then if we're not getting exercise. So a lot of it is the biological part of make sure that I'm taking care of my body, because a lot of the problems that emotions stem from can be from how well you're taking care of your body. So it's really just that the please is the root of getting to why do I feel this way, and by fixing those things in your life, in the end you can figure out where your emotions are coming from, and then they will replace themselves. So we're still accepting them as they are, but we're changing things that might be contributing to why we feel
On Wednesday we talk more about emotion relations, but again, this the please, physical illness, can take it easy, eating, so eat the moderate weight, drugs, sleep, exercise, so forth. Yes. So, okay, let's just move on so that we can have 10 minutes to exercise. Okay, the last one, describe the difference between DBT and ACT. Can you do that? What's the difference? Okay, so again, remember, let's talk about the difference. Well, okay, now, so we know the core skill, right? In DBT, right? We have the core mindfulness skill, right? First one. And then the second one is interpersonal affective skill. We don't have time to talk about this. Here is talk about describe, express, accept, reinforce that you talk about. My man, dear man, mindfully appear confident, negotiate. This is the let me put this is for single. We have the mindfulness skill as a core. The distress tolerance skill, accept, right? Accept and please and improve. This one is the please, and interpersonal effectiveness. That's the dear man. Describe, express, accept, reinforce, feel confident, negotiate. This is a similar approach. So anyway, so that's what the difference between this DBT and ACT. ACT is emphasize on what's that? Yeah.
Inner values.
Right. Yes. Remember last time we started about ACT.
Cognitive diffusion and the observed self.
Yes. Yes.
It seems like the difference between DBT and ACT is when you're using DBT, you're assuming that the patient maybe has more difficulty than perhaps the patients who are using ACT.
It's different way. It's not this way.
It's the opposite?
In the DBT, this, especially if you read that handbook, they say that the therapist need to assume the patient has ability to transfer, has ability to overcome.
But that's with ACT, right?
It's similar, yeah.
Well, I was saying DBT, you assume that the patients maybe don't have those abilities.
They have.
They
assume. They assume. Yeah,
Well,
they
okay.
assume. But the difference is the approach, right? The techniques here, right? The ACT is more flexible, right? Yeah. Remember? Yeah.
Well, I just had a question because I wonder if you were if a person was suicidal, would you still say to them like accept? I don't know. Would they understand the concept of accepting that they want to die?
That's why they don't use ACT here.
Yeah.
Let's go borderline. That's why they don't use ACT here. They use DBT.
Right.
They use DBT with the assumption that the patient can overcome that kind of emotion, that kind of problems.
So why don't they assume that? Why don't they assume that with ACT patients?
That's why they use different approach.
Yeah. Why don't they assume that though?
No, I don't. That's why they decided the techniques, but for ADC, it's deal with what problems, remember?
Stress.
Yeah.
Stress.
Stress,
Depression.
depression, anxiety, especially the depression, right? Somehow depression is not serious much than the body life problems, right? So that's why they use DBT. It's more serious. So that they use this form set of skill to help the patient to deal with this. Okay? Yes.
DBT focused on like actions you can take to change something, and then ACT is based on simply accepting them and not trying to change them.
You can say that it's
More
more
like, from what I just got, like, for instance, accept, that's all about like actions you can do to try to relieve. Yeah. Got a little excited there.
I like it.
Remember the this one. Remember we talked about this one. Is the prepare this the here and now. Remember this. What is called the prepare the cognitive fusion acceptance, and let me go back here. It's better. Oh, 6 core here. Here, the second, cognitive fusion, being present, set up context, value, committed action. So this is the 6 core values of ACT. This kind of approach is maybe different from DBT. This help you to accept, help you to be patient, to be present with the problems. But for the DBT, because I think it's more serious matter, like the one who would like to commit suicide, and if the teacher, okay, you accept that, that's why you create more problems, right? Yeah. So basically, the difference is how they approach and. They recognize the values of our person and That's why we use this one here. How to handle, how to regulate our emotion, how to endure the stress, and how to interact with other people. So they're basically different tools to regulate our emotion. On the other hand, for the ACT, it's you just accept your emotion in different ways. Okay, how about this? Let's use 5 minutes to do the practice. And so, yeah, please pair together. And since we have 4 sets, right, you can pick up any set, right? Let's say you pick up your partner. Pick up your partner and pick up the set you like to talk about. And of course, one of you will be counselor, therapist, one of you will be patient. You can be patient and say something. Explain to your counselor. Okay? All right, so let's say group 1. Can you group 1? Okay, so you pick up mindfulness. Okay, group 2. Group 2 you can deal with distress. Let me see. Right. Yeah, mindfulness, distress, tolerance, right? You 2 and you 2. And you 3 you do emotion regulation. And the last one you do the personal happiness, right? Yeah, please. One of you will be patient, one of you will be
Put it all down.
I can just, I'm so stressed about something.
Hey, you do that.
Yeah, it's pretty much like the same thing as every week.
Oh, you did a workout.
I guess.
It was so
Today?
all the other stuff, like straight to school, and so it was like, so I wouldn't want to now.
I usually have a ton of stuff going on, especially I don't
want to be doing
I don't like basically a list of things I can go to all the time, but I gotta reserve some room for that should take me a while. So we're gonna work on the usual things we're going to work ABC. Yeah, I just gotta like figure out the next just gotta like regular I just don't know what I'm doing, so yeah, I didn't go on sleep. I guess I'm not too super stressed about it. It's just kind of my brain weighing down a little bit.
Don't really need to distract yourself, because it's kind of
Self-defeating.
right. You focus, or like
the distraction.
as you go to the multiple
Female cheerleader. Female cheerleader.
tell yourself like, well, he's just learning how to be or it's just so, or if I work now, I'm more like,
Right.
This is we a little bit late. Who would like to start first? Which would you like to start first? Okay, yeah, what's your last one, right? You can start first. So in her personal happiness, so what's the patient and who is the counselor? Okay, so what's her personal problems?
Well, she was telling me that this semester in particular, her exams are really difficult, and she's having trouble. Like, she's second guessing herself on her questions, and she feels like even though she studies really, really hard, it's not enough studying. So I tried to recommend sort of what you were mentioning earlier, to sort of get in tune with your intuition a little bit, as far as I'm sure you directly know or clearly know the information. You just sort of, at that moment, you're frazzled. So to try and like assert yourself and sort of reinforce for yourself, I know this, I've done this, I've practiced it, and give your confidence sort of close with that too.
Thank you. The next one.
Yes,
we have the
PLEASE acronym, and he just said that he's having problems with stress, so it's making him want to start smoking again, and it's making him feel guilty. So I told him to just follow the PLEASE acronym, as in the A is obviously for the altering drug use, so that was kind of obvious, but his problem kind of needed some aspects of the other one. So I told him to use some distraction tasks, because he said he already started using exercise to make himself like get away from it. So I said maybe you need to pick up another good habit, like start meditating instead of when you want to smoke, just meditate instead. So.
What do you think about the electronic cigarette?
It doesn't work for me.
No, it doesn't work. Okay. All right. The next one. Yeah.
I was a counselor, and Jacob told me that he's having trouble like with the things he usually has trouble with, being stressed, having a lot. We were also the
Distress.
like the accept, improve. Yeah. So I told him not to distract himself with other activities, because since he's already putting things off in his stress, it's not going to help. But to like refocus. I didn't know how it would really fit that, but I told him to refocus and maybe like make a list, and as he does things to check them off, and that will show like in the improved part that he's like encouraging himself to keep moving on his tasks.
I was the counselor, and she talked about things that happened this weekend that troubled her between her and her husband, and specific examples. And we talked about like how he's dealing with a lot of emotions right now, and he's also dealing with their kids moving out. And they're both dealing with it differently, and we got into it pretty deeply. But for mindfulness, I told her that since he might be behind her emotionally, to model good behavior as best as possible. And when he needs something from her in the relationship, to try to focus on what's going on with him and try to help. And then when she's alone, give herself the time to just think about herself and what she wants.